down as soon as it starts. It's preparing. Redirecting, and here we go. All right.
And we live?
We are live.
Welcome to Fake News Now. We are going to be debunking the debunkers and trashing the news.
I think that part's important, the trashing of the news.
My name is Corey. Just call me Corey. And we got oh crap, I forgot Caroline. Caroline.
Yeah, and it says Steve on my Zoom. So hi, I'm
And
Steve. I'm Steve today, apparently, or Carolyn.
Steve is unaccounted for.
He's not with us right now, but he's
He's
with us in spirit. It
he's
sounds like
present but
he's dead.
unaccounted for.
Yeah, he's missing in action.
So like, I think we were planning on opening up with a discussion on abortion, right?
We were. I was.
So do you want to bring that in?
I do. I do. And it's not just a discussion on abortion as far as I'm using the hold on, I gotta pick that up. My point is that news sucks and that even people that are trying to fact check the news and provide real information are obviously
It's not that the news sucks. I mean, journalists have a very important role, and I think most on the ground journalists do their best um to cover their news as accurately as humanly possible. It's corporate news that sucks, and that's on both sides. And I think the current, news environment is really like exposing that, like in a way that like I thought that like Fox, the way the Trump administration and the 2016 election like had exposed, but now it's being exposed on the other side too, and in the middle too,
I agree.
you know.
I agree. I agree. We had an issue we work with, WHYY, right? And they had their
Yeah.
community news summit this weekend that we weren't able to go to. But yeah, I've we've been they have been telling us they wanted to co-report with us and all the nice people, the people that are part of this thing. But yet there's like, hey, fill out this form. Now fill out this form. Now do this. And as I'm working on, like, I don't know if I mentioned earlier the water company plant here in East Falls that we're
Yeah.
blocking.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Right, right. So I've been dogging poor WHYY, telling them about every meeting, every quote, everything I've got, the all this stuff. And then what do? The Inquirer, who by the way, this was part of the community news aspect. So it's a grant, a LenFest grant, pays Inquirer and WHYY and other legacy news organizations to actually do community news. So the thing that I tried to prevent happening, which is every time they report it, they only report it from these very small group of homeowners, and they just take their word for it and do their bidding essentially in news. And the rest of the people that are like, hey, this doesn't make any sense, they don't care to answer those questions or make these people accountable. And once again, the Inquirer now did a story that they had the gall to actually, instead of posing in their side of the road, which is lovely and landscaped, they went down to the Abbotsford side to give the idea that these people in East Falls are, you know, um, that's the hellscape that we live in. But it wasn't our hellscape. It's the hellscape that the neighboring Abbotsford Homes people deal with. But we don't care about that unless we're trying to get one over on the government and get new benches and lighting for our side, in which case we'll march over to their side and be like, look at how water company, look what they're doing, to add the pressure that the government will eventually give extra money to these people to have a fancy dog run and super landscaping and all that stuff that
Well, I think they've been doing like a lot of that also with the uh 76ers arena
oh
downtown. Like, you know, they've been very, I mean, I think fairly one-sided
I think so.
about their coverage, and certainly they've allowed um the 76ers to get over on the broader public, while Chinatown is, doing their best to resist all of this.
Right, right. And you were working with the newspaper there for a
I
while, so
was, I was.
you really have some boots on the ground coverage there.
I tried. Unfortunately, I think that they limited my coverage,
Oh,
far more than I feel
right.
was appropriate, and it's why I don't work with them anymore.
Right, 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 right. And that was not just in the capacity of the arena, but also
No, yeah,
other stuff, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's a shame. That's a real shame. But I always thought that that newspaper, as far as community news goes, while it is a community newspaper, it's also, since it's a second language newspaper, they kind of have to, they're more of a newspaper, more of a legacy sort of um outfit, because they're kind of translating the big news for their audience, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we don't do
I
that.
felt like they were a little bit further right
Yeah,
than they initially let on with me.
right.
And I have no
I know.
animosity towards
Sure,
them.
sure.
I love the people that I worked with. They were wonderful people, you know,
Oh, sure.
but I'm at a stage in my career, at least from a journalistic perspective, the journalistic part of my career, where I don't have to put up with the bullshit.
Right, right.
Like, if you guys gave me bullshit, I wouldn't have to put up with it. I will
That's
find
it.
another job
That's
if I
it,
want
right? You
to.
don't
Like,
exactly. 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 So did you
you
want
know.
to do the Trump one that I was going to suggest that we
Yeah,
start?
yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah.
a fun one.
That was very interesting.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Ta-da! All right, let's share the screen. Do-
No dead air. Why
No,
are we
not yet.
having
We're not
dead
getting there.
air?
Say something. Quick, say something. All right, here it is. Here's
I
my
feel
big.
like there should be a producer screaming at us right now in our ear things.
All right, so here's the here's the bitch of the matter. Here's what pissed me off. So USA Today does these fact checks. And I love them because they clarify all kinds of things. I see all kinds of memes that are going on, and usually it's right-wing shit that needs to be corrected. And this one says apparently there's a false claim out there that Trump said he'd force government monitoring on pregnant women. And they talk about how that a Facebook post about Occupy Democrats claims they were saying that they'd be monitoring this, and they actually say he'd Trump told Time magazine in his second term as president he'd force every pregnant woman to submit to constant government monitoring to ensure she's doing nothing to endanger her unborn child, like, say, abortion, right? A vote for Trump is a vote for the handmaid's tale. Now, while that technically is incorrect because he never said he would force every pregnant woman to submit to constant government monitoring.
He he said that he would leave it up to the states,
Yeah,
right? And how many states have already instituted an abortion ban?
lots,
Yeah, I'd say about half of them or
probably,
thereabouts.
right? And
Um,
horrible ones, draconian ones,
oh yeah,
crazy ones.
sickening ones. There was just a Supreme Court case that was argued, I believe, this past week, maybe the week before, um, where the government was having to argue that they should be able to administer stabilizing
Oh my God.
um, care
Oh my God.
that included abortion because there are some medical conditions that
Yeah,
you know an organ has to be removed
right.
or something like and the state was arguing against giving
Sure. Right.
stabilizing care. Like,
Crazy.
how draconian is that? You were literally opting to you're cutting off your nose to spite your face is what you're doing in
Dude,
that situation.
they're women that their babies die in the womb. And because it's not septic yet, they can't technically, no one wants to do the abortion. So they're like, oh,
Yeah,
all right, we'll just wait till it rots out of you.
that and how sick is that? Like you were putting women's lives in danger. And I think that like things like this, you're right, they muddy the water. Like the point was never, about specifically what he said. It
Ooh,
was the implication.
yes, yes.
And his implications, just like every Republican out there, has been crystal clear, even when they tried to like hedge their bet.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, Trump's been trying to hedge his bet, but then he's all like, "Yeah, I got rid of Roe. It's me." Like they're insane and they don't care. And the idea that somebody who somebody who could see this and be like, "Oh, look, the left's lying. Oh, look, he's blowing it out of proportion. Oh, he doesn't mean it." And
Well,
like why'd they put him on the cover of Time magazine? I mean, come the fuck
I
on.
don't know if you read that
It's
article, but
horrible
that's
article. I support the
terrifying.
article, but he's still on the cover. And how many people are not going to read the article? They're just going to see him on the cover and go, "Oh, I love that man.
That's
Ah,
probably the only
he's
reason
so
he actually
powerful."
agreed to do the article,
Of course, it's
because he was going
horrible.
to be on the cover.
Yeah, they should have just put like an ass or something, like a donkey or like a someone's butthole on the cover and put the hair over it or something. Like yeah, I don't know why they gave him a flattering cover shoot. I really don't. It's the weirdest thing. Well, actually, I do know. I do know because they're obviously take money for this shit,
Just like all of the rest of them.
just like USA Today's taking grant money on fact checking to add to muddy the waters and confuse people.
And I was actually one of the things that I had been thinking about a lot uh, the past couple of days, thinking about the show and everything, is also another um, fact check that USA Today did, where they were fact checking a specific image, but they were using that fact check to try to discredit like the broader picture of Jewish students being prevented from going on onto these campuses and like accessing their education that they paid for. And they had showed like this image of like Palestinians, and I guess it had been from a different protest, and um they were blocking, an entryway to something, maybe a library or something, I don't know. And it was side by side with Nazis, doing the same thing.
Right.
And it was a comparison between, the idea was to, show that the comparison between these pro-Palestinian, I don't even like that term because they're not really
Right.
pro-Palestinian,
Right. Right.
these pro-Hamas supporters
Right.
and what the Nazis had done, you know, in the 20s and 30s of the previous century, and to show that they are the same thing. Your one was blocking Jewish students from entering,
Oh,
you
I
know,
see. So it's yes. And then they took it to look at the little and go like that technically wasn't at this university or something like that.
exactly,
And you're like,
exactly.
dude, the point is yes,
You're,
yes,
you're missing the forest for the trees,
yes,
asshole.
yes, 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 yes. That is what they do. And that exactly like and that's how they, I guess, say, like, look, we fact check on both sides, but they're not
But
really.
it's not.
It's not.
It's for the same agenda.
It's not. It is. It is. Absolutely. So, before we forget, because we're already at the half hour point somehow,
Really?
yeah, we were really
How
beginning.
the
We
fuck?
have to get ourselves settled. We need to work on that.
How the
We should actually
fuck?
port up like 10 minutes beforehand, like when we were getting
We
off,
we
we
should.
really should and get ourselves together. So, anywho, but again, live and learn. This is a trial. We're
I
working
say
on
we
it.
go half hour over, damn it.
Damn it, we take that back. Anyway, but I don't want to
Taking back
forget.
my time.
I love hearing that in court. Anyway, okay, so but we don't want to forget about dick jokes because
Oh yeah.
we all have a lot.
How weird is that the very first witness was Donald Trump's pecker? And and did you realize how long did it take to you to realize that his initials were DP?
Ah, ew, that's gross, but
It
funny.
is so gross, but it is so funny. Like, and so like just
And he is giving pretty good
Perfect.
DP. It's going pretty D. That's
Straight
so
for the
great.
double penetration
Oh
there.
my God. Oh my gosh, that's great.
We I don't should we block this out?
Yeah,
Because
no. And then
my son is gonna listen to this.
there's
It's
also well, that kids don't necessarily know what that means.
okay, okay.
So
But
those are
if
harmless words that are you can find in the dictionary alone, stand alone, they're perfectly fine. It's just when you put them together. Kind of like Sir Shits and Pants or whatever they call them.
oh
That was
sure,
a good one.
Servan shits and pants. That was so great. I saw somebody had written that in like in front of like a Trump sign, like a I don't know, maybe his resort or a
I love
hotel
that.
or something. I don't fucking know, but it was
I
hilarious.
do. I love that so much. That was really funny, especially since it was before he was farting in court. So it's like he just said it because everybody knows he stinks. So
No, this comes from, you know where this comes from?
the
There was
country.
like a photo like a long time ago where he was wearing like white
Oh
shorts or
yeah, I've seen that
something
photo. Yeah.
and he had like a shit stain or something.
But it's also because the let's see, Trump shits himself apprentice.
I heard about that. Yes.
Yeah. It's from Slate magazine does it, and they talk about the guy actually says about it. Apparently he's taken a whole lot of drugs, like ADHD type drugs and stuff, and they do number on your GI over time.
Really?
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
I take ADHD medicine, so does John.
Well, do
And
you snort it?
no,
Right? Do you take a lot of it and use it to get off and stuff like that?
definitely not.
Okay, well then maybe you're different than Trump's use. He's more of a yeah, yeah. Well, I would have to read this too. It's like a whole beautiful article, but yeah, he was horrible. Couldn't read cue cards, da 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 da. All
But
that.
yeah, that's been plain from like the get-go. Like he's always getting off the teleprompter and like onto weirdness and just weirdness.
I don't know. I don't understand how anybody like his rallies to me are just like dead concerts for extra for like right wingers
For the
that go
racists,
right, and they put out
racists and
their
conspiracy
tables. If you look, there's
theorists.
always tabling, there's vendors, right, and they're all selling their crap and their stuff because like no one would go and buy a Joe Biden muscle shirt, but people will buy
Of course
Trump,
not.
right? Like it's just crazy. So they just sell all their stuff and they go travel around, and then the people go to the thing and they're bored and they're not listening and they don't care. And it's his
A lot
great.
of them, a lot of I've seen a lot of them where they leave early. Like they
Well,
go there
yeah.
for, the
Yeah, the
warm up
greatest
or
hits.
whatever, and
Yeah.
then they
Yeah.
dip
Good
out.
couple locker ups or whatever they want to say. Couple boos, make fun of Sleepy Joe, which I don't even understand how we can possibly call him Sleepy Joe
I
anymore.
know that
Like,
ship
come on,
sailed.
dude. Right? That
That
ship
ship
has sailed.
sailed.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're
Yeah.
sleeping every day in a courtroom, like
Eh,
where your freedom is on the line,
right?
maybe.
Eh. That's
Like,
so good. Oh, I learned something interesting. It's not particularly funny, but it's interesting about why um Trump's kids aren't going to the trial.
why? Like,
Yeah, right?
I mean, I can
Can you
understand
guess?
Melania not doing
Sure.
it,
Sure.
and I can even understand what's her name? Not
Ivanka.
Tiffany, Ivanka.
Yeah.
Uh like both of them have always been tried to maintain a distance
Hmm.
from
Right.
him, which is weird to have your wife maintain a distance from you. Like, that's weird.
Your wife?
His wife, not
Oh,
my wife.
Melania. Yeah, yeah, Melania. This is but
I wish my wife would give me a
ah.
little space. I love my wife very much, but I love Dana very much, but brother needs some space, damn it.
But anyhow, so you can see
Anyhow,
that Eric and Don Jr. are all over the internet, talking all the right-wing media, but yet
yeah,
they're not showing up in court. Now, Eric did for one day,
yeah,
and I don't know
half
if
a
you
day,
half a
half a
day.
day. It was
The
after
re
lunch.
the reporting was very interesting because they said that I've heard is that the courtroom started watching Eric because Eric was, as the evidence was being shown and the things of his dad's signature and all that stuff, they said it looked like Eric was like, what? Like he had never seen some of that stuff. So the audience or the reporting from this is that they actually felt very bad for him. The woman that she was a journalist that was discussing this, she actually broke up a tiny bit as she was telling this because she felt like these are still people. That's how her voice broke when she said, "They're still people." And he was really looking at
I
it. And
beg to differ.
well, I'm still like, if imagine that you go there to go stand by your dad who's told you believe like 110%, and then you go and you start seeing those lies like right in front of your face.
Well, he is the dumb one.
Yeah, and he seemed very yeah, right? Right? Like Don, I think Don would be in, Don Jay would be in on it, but Eric Trump is the consensus is that he really looked like he was kind of, just upset by it and mystified, and all the feels that you would have if you were just it was coming into view, like, oh my God, my dad might have murdered someone, like that sort of look was on his face. That and he hasn't been back, so maybe that's part of it is the kids know they don't want to know.
Yeah, well, that's always been,
Yeah.
kind of the feeling of it is, you know, method of like plausible
Hmm.
deniability on their part. Like they don't want to know like how bad their dad actually is because they don't want to know how bad they are.
Right. Yeah. So that's it. It's very interesting reckoning. I didn't see this trial being any, I mean, I guess it's fun in a lot of ways that there's a lot of comeuppance. There's a lot of it's refreshing to hear evidence, and unlike when he tried to lie and say he was not allowed to testify, and they clarified that. Like that felt
Yeah, like
that felt good.
I mean, it's the lies that he's telling, after the fact and on his whatever blog page or whatever, they're so obvious and easily debunkable. Like he only gets away with it because people in the media let him get away with it, and because his supporters they're low information. Like they're not paying attention like we are.
Sure.
You know,
No.
they're not. I'm trying real hard not to call them dumb.
No, but they want to believe. They're believers, and believers
Yeah,
don't want to see. The believers have tunnel vision,
they do.
and
And they are many of them are true believers.
yeah, yeah, and we're groomed that way, which is a
Yeah,
horrible thing, but we
yeah,
are.
we
So
they certainly have.
yeah.
And, and I will be 100% fair and say that the pro-Palestinian people at these encampments, many of them are true believers.
Mm,
Even
right,
the you know supposed outside agitators,
right,
which there may or may not be.
right.
I think there are, but like, you know, I know certainly in some cases there are, but
Are you
I
talking
don't know
Russian
about.
or Iran or?
No, 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 no. I'm talking about like non-students
Oh, right, right, right. Oh, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
non-faculty. I mean, the students and faculty are bad enough,
Right,
you know, but they all come from the same place.
right,
This propagandized,
right.
place, and they think they're doing right, just like the Nazis thought they were doing right,
It's yeah, yeah.
but it's the same thing. It's the
Right. And
same.
then they send the cops out, and they start brutalizing students, and that doesn't help that just makes it worse, right?
But I mean, that's some of that, like, yes, that cops do get aggressive,
Oh my God. I saw him slamming
but
a professor to the ground. It was horrible.
but at the same time, like, these people aren't innocent either.
Yeah.
Like there was one video of like a bunch of black bloc kids, and like I assume kids could have been adult
Right.
in black bloc rushing out, with half trash cans to use as shields and then getting the snot beat out of them by the cops. Like, what did you expect? What did you expect? When you take over a building, you know, and like you broke in, you, vandalized, like utterly destroyed the place. They have swastikas painted on the walls in there. That's not, you're not the good guy. You are not the good guy.
There are swastikas on the walls
Yeah.
in Colombia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, how sick is that?
That is sick.
You can't claim to be progressive and then,
Right?
be
Swastika ever.
vehemently anti-Semitic at the same time. You can't claim to be for
Yeah.
land back.
Yeah, a swastika was found drawn on a bathroom. Well, oh sorry, that was 2023. I can't see that right now. Colombia's
The,
protesters. I'm not seeing
it was
swastikas.
it was from one of the police
Yeah, I'm not
cameras.
seeing that right now.
Probably not gonna because it's not being reported in the mainstream news.
Yeah, well, it got reported on the mainstream news in 2023. Oh, 2 days ago. Here we go. No, that's the Nation. I'm not seeing it. Oh well.
But there's a lot of things that they don't report. Like
I understand, but saying they're all over, like I was imagining, you said they were swastikas. I was imagining like they're
like
all
there
over
were
the
like
place.
there were
So
like
I would
three or
assume
four
kids
of
would there would be in
there were
the
like three or four of them like in like a
right.
weird row, but they were like very large.
Okay, well, I would like to. I haven't. I like to know where I think that's ridiculous, and to imagine that progressives are putting swastikas on anything is mind blowing to me. So I would actually like to see that to be able to, you know, absorb it properly. See where the context is. See who these people are, and what kind of punishment they are getting because they should be getting punishment, and or they should be you can't, you shouldn't be able to do that. You're not supposed to be able to do that. That's not protesting. That is over. There's a line. And I get in Vietnam, they were calling soldiers baby killers, but that,
Um, well, here's another.
like, how is these protests different than, say, the George Floyd protests?
Well, no, well, I wanted to go um
And I
back
don't
to
mean like idealistically. I just meant like physically. Like how were people able to keep themselves from tipping over into violence, or how didn't they do that, or
well,
how did the
they
police treat
didn't
them
always
differently than they're
they
treating me? That's what I'm looking for. Not
they
idealistically, obviously.
they really didn't always, you know, refrain from violence. And when
Okay, here we go. Hold on. Swastikas found on USC campus amid ongoing Palestinian protest. So I can't.
UCLA among the schools.
Yep. And by the way, I'm hearing a lot of AI on network news clips. It's very irritating. So yeah, look at that. Schools making national news. What happened? I don't know. They're not talking
I'm
about
trying
it.
to find an image of it. They don't have a
Yep.
direct image of it.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Yep. And that's fucked up. That is so messed up that you are progressive and you put a Nazi symbol somewhere. That is absolutely out of my mind. Like whoever does that, they're you I just don't understand. Again, I don't understand. I see the videos of, and again, I'm not trying to talk idealistically. I'm simply talking about the practical experience of protesting.
well, I was gonna
And you catch
where
yourself, right? Like
I
I'm
was gonna
punching this baby in protest. No, it's a baby, like
I was gonna, address, a lot of the content are whitewashing of what I've been calling the Battle of UCLA. Um, where, they've been talking about, how the Jewish students that night, you know, physically assaulted the camp. But what they're not talking about is what started that. The beating of a young woman, the surrounding and beating of a young woman till she was unconscious and bleeding from her head.
And they just reported on the trashing of the protest, but without
On
the
the
punching and the
on the
bleeding of the head.
assault by from Jewish students
Right, right.
on the encampment
That's
that
so
night.
weird.
And they've been doing that consistently. And they've consistently, talked to frame this conversation, in a way that suggests that, the police are coming in basically for no reason,
Right.
or that Jewish students are assaulting, these protests for no reason,
Mhm,
when that's the exact opposite of the truth.
mhm.
Jewish students have consistently been blocked from entering their campuses. They've consistently been assaulted. Like, I've seen hundreds of these videos, and the assaults, range from chasing Jewish students down, um, like they did also in UCLA, or it might have been USC, um, to, beating students, to obstructing, like surrounding them and obstructing them, from getting to where they're going, which is violence.
I I've seen, and the things that have really puzzled me or really stuck with me is I've seen, and it was actually on a more progressive feed, because their point was like, oh, look at these it was a Jewish girl or two of them or something. They were just walking through the camp and like, come on, say something, like kind of with that attitude. And occasionally, like one of the, I guess, pro Hamas or pro Palestinian, whatever you want to call them, the protesters,
Protesters.
they were like, oh, you're so scared of us? Are you scared of us? And so to me,
Yeah, a
it
little
was like,
bit.
well, to me, it was like a weird pantomime of passive aggressive and strange behavior from both sides, but still ultimately walking through and being like, yeah, is the natural is childish, but it's
It is
natural.
childish,
But it's natural. It's
the point is to
natural.
show that,
Yeah, you're not
you're
scaring
not gonna,
me.
you're not
Yeah.
gonna
And
cower
I
us.
see, I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk. And if you're, it's like what women did, we did it as form of protest, like, yeah, I get it. And that's what you have to do. Okay, look, here I'm walking. You don't have the power over me. And I get it. But and then on the other hand, I see the similarly childish response, but as you pointed out, and which I totally agree with, going, oh, you're scared, is like, that's the aggression. That's where you stop yourself. You don't, if I'm trying to make a point and I'm protesting, I understand taking the area, taking my space, going like, I'm not going to give you the pleasure of seeing me frightened. I'm not going to let you intimidate me. But the minute that person crosses line going like, oh, are you intimidated? Like, you're being aggressive. You're being the dick. You're being the fascist. You. And if you are doing a peaceful protest, that has no place for it. If
No,
anything, the peaceful protest, if you see a person walking going, I got my space, you should go, welcome. Welcome to the space. If you want to talk, we're here for you.
but they
I
won't
have no
talk.
hate for
They won't talk.
you.
They won't even
You're a
talk to
student. They
us.
won't. That's what
They won't even
it's
talk to
insane.
us.
So yeah. So it
Like,
bothers me very much.
I have friends that are journalists they're telling me, like, they won't even talk to us.
Yeah.
They'll stop us, and they'll get physical with journalists, unless it's their journalist.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been on anybody's side. I'm not. I'm on the only side I'm on is the side of truth.
Yeah. Right.
Like, what are you doing? What's going on? Like,
Yeah.
I'll tell that story. If whether I agree with it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And oftentimes I do go to these protests and I totally agree with things that are being said. I am very pro Black power and Black civil rights. I am very pro LGBTQ and trans rights. I am very pro women's reproductive rights. I am very pro ending homelessness.
You are.
I am very, like,
Reform, criminal justice reform. You're all
absolutely,
over that.
absolutely. I'm very pro all of these things.
Yep.
And I would be absolutely pro-Palestinian. I would consider myself absolutely pro-Palestinian in the sense that I believe that there should be a two-state solution. And
Peace,
yeah,
peace, right?
but at the same time, I won't lie and, obfuscate, history to validate my position of a two-state solution because
Yep.
that's ridiculous.
Yep.
I won't lie and say that my people don't have a right to exist in our homeland.
No.
And that is one of the central points where they're so purist that if you don't hold their exact ideology,
Right.
you are immediately against them.
Right, but they're coming from a United States mindset, and we're used to the idea of it looks like colonism, it talks like colonialism that it is, and we don't. Here's the other thing. You know who's left out of DEI shit? Jewish people.
Jews.
And you
Yep.
know what? You know what that breeds is people that don't understand all the nuances you're talking about, all the understandings of a people that had a
Make
land and what, right? Like there's all that.
and we
history.
make up like 0.2% of the
Right, I
global
know.
population. Like we are one of the smallest minorities on the
And
planet.
diverse minorities.
Yeah.
And most of the Jews, they're
They're either
Jews.
Middle Eastern or black.
Yes,
Like
yes.
the only reason we see so many white Jews is because we're in
Yes.
America.
Right, and that's why
you
they're
go
so
everywhere
sure.
else.
I know. But that's why we're so sure over here, which is so sad. And I feel like we're so easily manipulated by forces beyond it just to us it makes sense,
It reminds me of a conversation I've been having with my son for like the past 2 weeks about him being a know-it-all and needing to learn to shut the fuck up and listen. I mean, it's a little different, but it's the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
They think they know everything because nobody ever told them to shut the fuck up and just fucking listen.
Oh, and in their defense too, again, it's left out. We don't talk about we're very, Christian centered. We say Judeo-Christian, but we really mean Christian. There's no Judeo
in Christian.
No. And so we don't think about if we do, we think about Jews at Hanukkah. And that's it, and we look at
or
Jews,
how we supposedly killed Jesus.
Right, yeah, but that was just so wrong. Anyway, that's always bothered me. And then Catholic school, they did tell us that was wrong. It's only the Christians, the Catholic people. They've taught us very well that it was not. Jesus was a Jew, so it's again. But whatever. The idea is, it's insane.
But Jesus is a Palestinian. Didn't you know?
It's a Palestinian. Poor Jesus. Jesus has long blondish brown hair and blue eyes and European features, and his wife and his mother Mary has long blonde hair, right? Isn't that how we were all shown? If you go to Europe, that's the Holy Family looks like they walked off the back of a cereal box in 1950.
So great.
Oh no, it's so weird. So we don't know anything over here, and we're so manipulatable. And I really think that's it's just insane. How are we letting a guy that insurrected, that literally is saying that he's not going to accept the election unless it's fair? And obviously everybody knows fair means he wins. And we're all like, okay, that's great. And how are we even okay with the Electoral College, which we know was invented to protect slavery? Yet we're just like, all right. And then our Supreme Court is literally caught in the act of taking money from big interests. And we're all like, nothing we can do. I don't understand anything anymore. I really don't.
This leads me to another thing that has really just grinded my gears. Like the past couple of weeks, and that is the weaponization of anti-Semitism by the right, who has been more openly vehemently anti-Semitic and insane about it
Right.
than even the left has. And they've
Oh yeah.
been recently very openly,
Spectacular.
and yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't come at me with telling me you're pro these, or against these protests, or against the anti-Semitism on these campuses. Don't tell me that,
Right.
because you've been doing it for years.
Right.
Like, fuck out of here,
Covert.
man.
Like fuck you,
Fuck out of
Bobert.
here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fuck out of here. Yep. Yep. But they just swing because it doesn't matter because nobody knows anything.
And unfortunately, too many Jews are being also caught up in this, and this is going to be bad for us. Just as bad as it's going to be for our Muslim cousins in this country,
Right.
it's going to be really bad for us, and we need to like be on our P's and Q's and mindful that we are also being manipulated in this. Joe Biden isn't perfect, but he's not a fascist. These
Right.
protesters, they're fascists, but they're not the majority. The fascists on the other side are the majority.
Hmm.
We, for our survival, we need to make sure that we are electing Democrats, but we're also electing non-anti-Semitic Democrats
Sure.
too,
Sure.
but still need to be Democrats.
Sure. Yeah, right, right. You don't use this as the option to push yourself to the right, which is the worst because they're even worse than
I
right.
will never, I will never be on the right. And I was told this the other day when I was commenting. I called out like somebody on Instagram about like the UPenn protest,
Mhm.
and I called them, out for being the bunch of babies they are. And they said that I was just mad because I'm not invited on the left anymore. Motherfucker, I never gave a shit about being invited anywhere. I don't even go anywhere for that matter, like other than work. Like, and you're not going to stop me from doing my job.
Oh,
I dare you.
yes. No,
Those cameras are pretty fucking heavy.
they are. I know that. I hurt myself with mine. Mine wasn't even that heavy. It just had one camera. But yeah. But is there any breakdown from that video where it looks like things might be different, that there's any room for discussion here?
I'm sorry, which video was? Oh,
The video. Yeah, because I know you know a lot more about military than I do, and I didn't quite.
I was very interested in the can we play that?
Oh,
So that, because I don't think anybody's going to know what we're talking about right now.
okay. Let me find it.
Just the first few minutes.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to take a quick break.
Okay. We'll do that.
Let me mute myself. You keep talking.
I'll keep talking. Well, actually, Bo will talk.
Where's the mute thing? Oh.
Well,
All right. Hello, everybody. Let's see if we can do this. Share screen. This is my favorite dude. Hopefully this will work. It might be kind of tricky because we're already recording on YouTube. So let's see if this works. This is Bo from the Fifth Column.
oh, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today
Yeah, it's not going to work.
we are going to talk about some very interesting reports
Okay, so basically, hold on, let's jump ahead.
that came out last night. And not yet. I hope I get
Hold on.
the cash for aid and reconstruction.
So he said that there's several things that need to go into play for there to be a peace. There you go.
You need
No, never mind. I'm just going to shut this off. Anyway, you need cash was one of the main things that he said. You needed, I can't play it, Corey. I'm sorry. It's just too much for my system. But you needed buckets of cash. And then he said you needed cooperation between the Arab states
Trucks
and the
for
West.
cash,
Oops, hey.
For aid and reconstruction. You need a regional security force that would
Yeah, sorry.
include Arab nations that have the best
Actually,
interest of the Palestinians at heart, and then Western partners
I'm going to stop that right
to
there.
make sure that Israel is comfortable.
Yeah. So they thought they had regional. Okay. So according to this, then it says that.
That is where I think the distinction will be, is the regional partners,
Right.
enforcing the peace. For a long time, like it's been Israel alone with like financial backing from the US and her partners,
Mhm.
in the region. But I think the having Arab forces on the ground to enforce that peace in conjunction with, Israeli and Western, allies, I think that will be a huge difference. And it takes away, I feel like it should take away, the whole nonsense about this being a colonial endeavor.
Right.
It's impossible to say it's a colonial endeavor if you know the other Arab countries in the region are participating in it.
Right. It
You
sounds
know, I mean, it was never a colonial endeavor, but like at least that would take away like the talking point. It would also take away the fantasy talking point about Israel being apartheid,
right.
which is always been insanely absurd.
Right. And anything Israel does that tries to contain stuff is seen as kind of like when we have the right wing people that are like, oh, my First Amendment rights. So it's always going to have that shade to it unless there's somebody else there that can represent the Arab nations and say, hey, this needs to get done. And it's not
But
something that's being enforced
here's the weird thing about this though, is Egypt has always been involved, at least with regard to Gaza, um, on like the borders, controlling the border.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
Egypt has
Oh,
a
yeah. You,
huge border with Gaza,
yeah.
and there are more walls
Oh,
on
yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah. I
side
saw that. Yes. Yes. Definitely.
than there even are, and they're very big,
Yes.
tough
Yes. Yes.
walls.
There. Yes. No, no, no.
They
You
they
are absolutely
also
right.
eradicated, like razed to the ground, a chunk of Rafah
Wow.
years ago,
Wow.
like because it was on the Egyptian side
Wow.
of the
Wow.
border, because you have to remember before, like, what was it, 67 or whatever,
Mhm.
like Gaza was actually part of Egypt.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it had been controlled entirely by Egypt, and it was won in that war. And when Israel tried to give it back, they were like, Egypt was like, nah, not so much. We'll take the Sinai, but you guys can have that.
Oh my God, that's wild. All right, so just to clarify, since I didn't get a chance to play the video because it wasn't working. So Israel's open into an alliance or power sharing, which is AKA a regional security force that would use Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, and Western partners. Jordan doesn't seem to be in on it. However, the CIA is there now, I believe. So they have a lot of ties in Jordan. So it looks like it might be
The Jordan's gonna be a part of it, and they want to be a part of it.
cool.
And they showed that they wanted to be a part of it the other week when Iran launched all of those drones and missiles at Israel, and they said no, not in our airspace,
Yeah,
asshole.
yeah, yeah. And then we
And
got
so I'm honestly, I'm very proud of my Arab cousins in the moment, because so many of them are speaking out for Israel,
wow.
you know, in this moment, and against Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis,
Wow.
which is actually how you pronounce it, assholes. Not Houthis,
Really? It's
Houthis.
Houthis. Thank you.
And it comes from their headdress.
Oh. So you have a lot of experience in the so-called Middle East, right?
Well, yeah, that's where my family's from.
Right. And you speak Arabic?
Some, some. I read it better than I speak it.
But were you trained in Arabic? Do you have how much Arabic do you have?
I learned it on my own.
Oh, okay. I assume since you were time in the army, was it the army?
No, yes, but no,
Yeah.
no. That wasn't
Wasn't your
my
thing.
theater. Wasn't
Yeah.
my theater.
Oh, I gotcha.
But
That's all.
what is it? Where is that going? Oh,
I forget. I'm sorry. I get
but I think that if we can create a partnership, a real partnership with all of the other Arab states that are willing to do that,
Mhm.
like that's a wonderful thing for Israel and for the broader Middle East. And it should, like any de-radicalization, uh any work against eliminating, terrorist organizations and Iranian proxies, should definitely be centered and led by Israeli and Arabic states. I think that's the decolonization that needs to happen.
Mhm.
Like the nonsense that, that the pro Hamas, are talking about, eliminating the state of Israel. It's absurd, anti-historical, and
It's not
just
going to happen.
utter nonsense. It's not going to happen.
happen. Let that go. Let that go.
Let it go because it was
No.
never right in the first place.
No. No. And even if on some goddamn planet, in some way, people think it's not now. It's not.
It's never.
It's like saying
It was
we're
never
give,
gonna be.
No.
Like once we decided that it was gonna happen,
Yes.
that we were taking our land back. And that's the other part of it. It's like, if you are saying decolonize Israel right now, you need to stop saying take land back,
That's true.
because
That's not fair.
you're
No, that's
not
right.
you're not as pro decolonization as you think you are. Anyways,
Anyhow.
once we decided that we were going to have our state back, if we were going to reconstitute Israel as a functioning modern state, it was done.
Right.
Because when Jews put their mind to something, God damn it, you
It's
should be
like,
thanking us for a lot more.
right? It's almost like if there was a bunch of indigenous people from the wilds of like the mountains somewhere that just like showed up and took over New York or something. And
Well, it reminds me, and this is weird because like if the native folks in Turtle Island, I guess that's Canada,
okay,
where I know there's a big movement to take that land back.
okay,
If they took that land back,
Mhm.
this is how the left would treat you. Just so you know, so our native and indigenous brothers
Right.
and sisters know, this is how they will treat you.
What does that mean?
They will condemn you. They will accuse you of being the colonizer.
Well, no, because they're not Jewish.
Oh. Well, there is that.
There is that. But yeah, I know, I get you. I feel you. And yes. And I hate that there's that in the way. I really do. But I think that's
Are you talking about the cat or
both of them? I'm glad it didn't turn just a little bit, because that would have not been a pleasant view.
You need to get one of those little, remember a
The
few
tinkle
years?
tush.
Yeah.
It was fake, but it wasn't real.
No,
No, they don't exist. It was a joke.
That's sad.
I was sad too,
That's
but I was
sad.
also like, how are you going to watch that?
Ew.
But did you know that this is fun? A little kid for a science project, he wanted to know how much cat ass is around his house because he sees his cat sitting down, and you know that they don't have a twinkle tush or whatever covering the butthole. So in
Mhm.
order to test this theory, they took lipstick, mom's lipstick, but I guess she never used it
Oh
again,
no.
right?
Oh
And then
yeah.
they marked his butt with lipstick, and then they let him roam the house and they watched where he put his butt down. So
Oh my
I know it's
goodness.
a great study, but here's the truth. So on flat surfaces, no lipstick got on it. So you would think the cat's butt is on the, when they sit, but apparently
Yeah.
they have a little bit of fur, just enough because it was a short-haired cat, but just enough fur to cushion it so their butthole does not reach the floor.
Hmm.
I mean, feet reach the surface. So it's not totally flat. However, if you let your cat hang out in like a ball of laundry or something, obviously since it's mushy, you will get some lipstick on your clothes. So
See, that is why I cover my laundry basket.
and it's why you should. There you go. It's why you're a thinker, Corey. You're a thinker. You've worked that out intuitively.
That's I was gonna say they're entirely assholes, so that's probably everywhere. So mad at my cat last night. Like
They do.
he knocked over my coffee.
Oh, well, they'll
Like
do that.
like like I have like my seat like every dad does,
Sure.
and it's right next to the heater because
Yeah.
dad's
Dad's
prerogative.
chilly.
Dad's prerogative.
All right.
And it's a perfect little counter, for,
Cozy spot, cozy warm
yeah.
corner for
And
dad.
I had my coffee there and I'm watching Ghostbusters with John
Okay.
because he wanted to watch Ghostbusters and I was very thrilled that he would, watch, a wonderful 80s movie with me. And the cat, I guess got jealous, because John was there, the dog was there.
Sure.
He came up, sat on my lap, did his thing,
Mm-hmm.
decided he was going to go away because he had enough,
Okay.
hopped up on the heater and just straight knocked it over. Like I
Oh.
watched it happen and
Oh
he did this.
no.
Boop. Like
Cats are
you
assholes.
motherfucker.
Was there coffee? Did you give cream and
Yes.
sugar in it?
I just do cream.
Still, that's pretty bad. That's
But I do like the zero sugar cream,
okay.
because of my diabetes. I
Sure.
want to get that under control. So,
Sure.
but like still, it was
Oh,
every fucking where.
no,
It
that's
took me like
terrible.
20 minutes
No. And you
to
yelled at
clean
the
it up.
cat?
I shot it in the butt with a
Nerf ball. Yeah,
Nerf
that's what you
ball,
showed me. What'd
which
he
is
do?
he's also banned from my office. That's why this is down
Why
here.
is he banned from your office? Because of the coffee incident?
No, because he keeps pooping over by the
Why?
one of our workout stations because he's an
Why?
asshole.
Why would he poop in your workout station?
Because he's an
Is his
asshole.
litter box 30?
No,
No,
no.
he's just an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad, man. Mine doesn't poop outside the box, but he's an asshole otherwise.
But yeah, so that's why that's down here because I'm gonna shoot him in the butt if he comes in here.
Well, I was
If he
hoping to
could,
see him.
no, 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 no,
Your
no.
couch is gone, right? No,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I have a
Oh,
new
I
one.
see. Yeah, nice. Sharp.
Yeah, and it opens up to a bed,
Oh, good.
so I can nap when I need to.
Obviously. We all need to nap sometimes. Ow, ow.
And what better place, to be, napping than your office?
Right? Fuck the man. Wait, I am the man.
My office is great. I have like 2 workout areas. I have my own bathroom,
That's
own
nice.
place to nap, reading nook, my own library.
Oh, sweet. You got a sweet man cave.
It's not a man cave.
It's a You just described a man cave.
I did. Except Danny is always welcome down here.
Oh yes, but that's a good man cave. That's an enlightened man cave as opposed
My son is
to
not always welcome down here.
well, he's still young in that age where they can be sticky.
My issue is that he's always down here and he's like running around in his goddamn underwear like he has no fucking
We should,
care in the world.
should put some lipstick on his butt. See where he sits.
God no. And then he also never shuts up because he's got ADHD and he doesn't know how to shut his goddamn mouth.
They all they talk like crazy at that. Hey, know what? Hey, know what? Hey, I was watching this show. Hey, you know what? Ever see this?
You know, it's always funny. It's
Hey.
annoying. It's annoying and funny at the same time and cute.
It's enlightening too.
He'll always come up and tell me, you know, that like, and it'll be like the most bizarre fact that I already knew, like
But like,
years
why does
ago.
it matter to him? Why he picks something weird out? It's fun to have those little peeks at a human brain when they're like just figuring shit out, isn't it?
It is, but it's also so annoying because they're like,
Well,
I
yeah.
already know that. Like, you're not
Yeah.
telling any, because he tells me like I never knew it. Like
Right. Well,
I
he's
never knew it. Like
practicing. He's practicing
practicing
because you
being a
probably sound like
know-it-all.
you know. You probably sound like you know what you're talking about all the time. So he wants to sound like you.
I
He's
do. And
practicing.
I don't
Yeah.
like it. And Danny's just accepted it.
So she
Danny's
just accepted it. Yeah, she's used to it. But he's
she
trying
just accepted that I do in fact know everything.
to. Oh, I'm pretty sure that she's just accepted. She's just taught you to think that she's accepted that you know everything.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Probably.
She any
Meta.
anytime a woman lets you think something or that there's something that you think and that's your spouse, she just trained you.
That's it. That's true. It's okay though. It's a good training. It makes you feel good, right? It's good training.
I can't remember. I was listening to a comedy bit the other day, and I think it was maybe what was that from the redneck comedy guys, the Jeff guy.
Oh, Jeff Foxworthy.
Foxworthy, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, I realized that my wife trained me the other day when I was reading and she was reading in the bed, and she said, I'm cold. And I closed my book and I got up and turned on or no, I'm hot. And I closed my book, turned on the fan, and stopped in the middle and said, I wasn't cold or I wasn't hot.
She trained you. I'm cold or I'm hot, and you just go up and fix it. Yeah.
And it's so true. It's so true. Like wives will just mention something,
It's
and
easier.
instead of thinking, well, go do it. Go get whatever you want. We just do it.
It's because it's easier because we'll figure out, do you think it's cold? Do you think it's hot? I don't know. It's like,
My answer is always going to be no, it's neither cold nor hot.
no, fine. You want me to turn the heat up, don't you? You want me to turn the heat down?
Exactly.
Yes, yes. But I don't want to ask you because then I don't know. We lose. We all lose, Corey.
You guys never lose. You guys own it all.
Well, unless we're in a forest and we stumble upon a man or a bear.
Well, I remember that. I was thinking about that conversation. I'm like, you know what? They're right.
Yeah.
They should they have definitely a better chance with the bear.
They definitely, and it's not like people are like the bear's not attacking you, but just if you're in the middle of nowhere, who would you rather see? Totally rather see a bear if I was by myself than a man.
I'd rather see the same thing.
Right? Men are
Frankly.
dangerous. Yeah.
Humans, period.
You wouldn't be
are
afraid of a
dangerous.
man though, is the thing. You'd just be like, yeah, what's up, dude? Right?
I would, in the back of my head, I would be questioning what are his motives? Why is he out here? Like,
Who is he burying?
But I would question, like,
Right.
but I don't question the motives of a bear because, like, bears are bears. Bears are just doing berry shit.
Exactly.
You know.
But I guess you think of a bear like, does that have a cub? Is the mama bear, is she going to come get me? Whereas if you saw a man, you wouldn't be thinking, is he definitely going to get me? You'd just be like, well, what's his deal?
Yeah.
Right? I guess that's the point.
Like, yeah, what's his deal? Like, is
Right.
he being aggressive at this moment? Is he being sly? Is
Is
he
he
trying to
crazy?
hide? Is he talking to himself?
Right. Right. Does he need help? If so, get away. I'm busy.
No, I would never do that. I would never do that.
Speaking of that, this happened like right before all hell broke loose in 2020. So it never made it to maybe even before COVID. So it never made it into the news. It happened like just as that news was breaking. But this is interesting. And speaking of men, so a guy, and this happened in New Jersey, South Jersey, so it was in Philly news. A guy was at a stoplight and there was a woman jogger on the crosswalk as he was
Uh-huh.
stopped, and he saw a man come out of the woods and grab the woman and drag her into the woods.
I
I
would
know,
chase,
right?
I would have pulled over and
That's
chased
what he did.
that
He just
down.
put his car into park and he ran right out. And when he got there, she was already the guy had pulled his pants down. She was already on the ground. That's how fast this fucker moved. He got
Damn.
into a fist fight,
Good for
managed
him.
straight and chased the guy off, and like barely got, you didn't even hear about it. Like it was just one of those things. And every guy that I've told the story to, kind of like what you did, like once you hear about it, you're like, oh, I just stopped the car and run.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's
Like, because
nice.
that's not, that,
That's nice to
no.
know. And that's the other side of the bear story, is that there are guys like that I was amazed to think that someone would just stop, like, if because I don't know how many times I've been out running by myself or something, that I've ever wondered like what would happen if someone just dragged me somewhere. And it's kind of nice to think that, like, not that I would count on it, but it's nice that
No,
that
you should never
happened, right?
count on
No,
it.
no, but it's nice that that happened, that a man didn't even think, and that's what they were saying. Like, well, what did you think? He's like, I didn't even think. I put my car in park and I just ran down, and like, he just stopped.
I am 100% of advocate for all women learning self-defense, because you can't trust that any human, whether it's a man or a woman or whatever, is going to do the right thing.
Right.
Like, I have lost my faith in humanity in that regard.
Oh yeah. Well, when I'm out, I always have one of those mace things, but I have like a Spider-Man one.
Really? You
So
have
I can go,
I want
if I
that.
need to. Yeah, they make
I
wristbands.
want that.
And you just flick it and you open it up and you can go psh on somebody. So that's, I wear my wristband. It's also red. But you know what I always thought, and I haven't been able to find one yet, but I hope that there's one now, because this was a couple years ago, that has like it should be like that should be a feature of like an iWatch or something. Like you should,
It
would say,
should.
and it should automatically call 911 when you at someone
Yeah.
and take a picture. Right? Wouldn't that be great? Like,
Yeah, that would be dope.
so I would think that someone would have invented that by now, but
I'm
I
gonna
have,
get one of those, something like that for Danny.
right? Just the spray, it was helpful. Always made me feel a little, it's nice, because otherwise, like, I can't imagine if someone's coming up against me that I'd be like, hold on a minute, let me check my pocket, or so this was easier because it was right.
And honestly, like, I that's why I wouldn't carry, personally, I wouldn't carry mace,
Sure.
because like it's too easy to get back on you.
Mhm.
It's not
Oh
as
yeah.
precise
Oh
a
yeah, it's
weapon,
terrible. Yeah, definitely horrible.
but I also wouldn't, like, I can't let Danny, because she's a little too crazy sometimes. She gets a little too stabby, so I can't let her just have like a knife, or even like I'm leery about letting her take the taser,
Yeah.
like, because I'm afraid she's going to be a little too aggressive about it.
And also, those
And
can also
but
be used
that's
against you.
Yeah, but it's
No.
also like, I understand like her aggression, because like women have to fight for like every
Yeah.
inch of space.
Yeah. You got to fight for your
know.
life. You got to be prepared to die right there, because you do not want to be pulled into that car. Because
Yeah,
wherever
remember
he's
that?
going to take
I
you
don't know.
is going to be
I don't remember where I heard that conversation, but
everywhere.
like that's so true.
You
Like,
can't.
but that's also, again, why I advocate for every woman learning self-defense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
good, solid self-defense.
Yeah,
And
but
there,
then so many women don't have the strength. So many
you
women
don't need
lose the
strength.
strength. Well,
You don't even need strength.
you could be disabled. You could have a nerve problem. You could have sight issues. That's a lot to ask.
there are
A lot of work.
still like techniques out there
Yeah.
that you can use that A, don't require strength, and B, are able body, are, what is, what, I don't know what they prefer, like able people, you know what I mean? You know what I
Oh
mean?
yes, they can be
Accommodated, like,
accommodated to
yeah,
fit different abilities and
yeah,
different strengths and weaknesses. I
yeah.
understand that. But I also think that it's not practical though to imagine that you would learn these because your strength and weaknesses are going to change over a lifetime and you're going to be constantly it's like asking women to train for their own protection where I don't think that's a
No,
bad
no,
idea, but
no, I'm
also
not
should
saying, I'm not saying that the fault of it,
sure.
like
No,
the
no.
issue
Right,
doesn't
right.
lie on men,
No, no.
and and that men have an obligation to, you know, manage themselves and not be fucking weirdos and creeps.
Understood.
I'm just saying that it's
Part of it. But also, how
yeah.
about let's learn the steps of being able to tell when things are creepy. Let's
Oh,
learn to
absolutely.
understand how to look and to walk, how to can hold ourselves, how to
But that's part of it.
all of it.
That's
Well, that
all
maybe
part
that's
of
the
it.
same thing we're talking about, but that's something that, like again, like I'm from Delco. That was part of our conversation growing up is you're not getting into a car, you're going to die right there if you need to. You're not, you know, you don't, if a guy says this, you just keep walking. If someone says something to you, just say flipping the bird and keep going. Like just do not engage.
It's a
That's
matter of a lot of times it's a matter of how you carry yourself.
right. And
Like I avoid lots of confrontations
absolutely.
just because I carry myself with
Oh, yeah.
in the sort of way that says, don't fuck with me.
Dude, I
I'm
went
not the one.
I went to school at LaSalle. I took the train and the subway constantly. I had to go back home after like doing a restaurant shift. I don't know how many times I walked past crowds of people that looked like they could be trouble that just steeled myself and went right past it. And like I had the flash mobs flying by me and just sort of like, whoa, just like you
Let me
can
tell you a
avoid
little story.
trouble.
Let me tell you a little story. I was heading home from karate by myself the other week, because John was being a jerk and didn't want to go that day or something. And this group of young people, they could have been anywhere between like 15 and like 20. There was about 4 or 5 of them, and they were messing with this homeless lady's stuff by this one area across from the Rite Aid.
Mhm.
And I yelled over at them, leave that lady's stuff alone. She doesn't have anywhere else to go. That's her things. Leave her shit alone. And they turned towards me like they were going to do something.
Uh-huh.
And I still had my earbuds in because if I'm going to fight, might as well keep my music on. And I said,
Little.
well, there's about 4 or 5 of you. And I did it that way. I looked down, looked up, looked down. It's about 4 or 5 of you. My sugar's a little low. I think this is a fair fight. And I set my bag down and I started walking across the street. And
No.
they all took off like a crazy cracker.
Yep. Yep. That's it.
And my response was, I'm not a cracker, I'm a kike.
Do people even use that word anymore?
Yes.
Oh man, it sounds like
Yes,
something from
they
wow.
do.
I
And
had
they
that shouted
I
at me.
have regularly at you. Are
Yes,
you
I was on South Street for no reason. A car pulled up.
somebody called you the
Yes,
K word.
yes.
You
Like
don't even look
I was in my 20s and I was confused because there's nobody else around and they just kept I was like, "Oh, okay."
you look more Italian than Middle
I thought
Eastern.
so. Maybe my hair was extra curly that day or something. I don't know, but it was really weird. I never got, I was very perplexed, but the only time I ever got that.
No, I get it somewhat regularly.
I wouldn't think you don't
At
look
least twice a
cute.
year.
That's wild. They must have to see you in context though, right? Do they see you with your
My kippa
arms
sometimes, yeah,
out?
and
That's
I'm
it.
always wearing,
Oh yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, okay. But I didn't have anything
but
on.
even then, like, have you look at the size of this nose?
And your nose is lovely, Corey. I would never think
Of
that
course
you're.
it is. Of course it is. I love my nose.
Oh no, but I
And
mean, I don't think
also,
it's
like,
it's
the
it's
majority of the
it's
year, I'm far darker than
You don't, you
most.
don't, you don't look like you have any of the, yeah, I don't see, I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult you and say I'm not seeing the markers that we are all taught to associate with European. Maybe that's why, because you're not, are you, is it a European heritage? Are you, is it,
I'm Iraqi or of Iraqi and Italian and English. I think we're or English or Scottish. I'm not sure which
God,
is
is
the
it?
Clark, which
Wow.
is the Clark with the K and not the KE.
I don't know.
I think it's Scottish that has just the K,
I
not
don't,
the KE.
I don't know. But you're,
Because
you don't, yeah.
there are several, like there are at least
When
like
you
two.
had hair, did you have
It's not
curly wavy?
it's not super, it's more wavy, but it is
You don't
dark.
have the Jufro.
No, I did when I was a kid,
Those are cute.
but it
Oh,
was a
you
blonde
like me
Jufro.
blonde?
Yeah, like I was blonde until like I think I was like maybe 11. Like it was like a dirty or a strawberry
Oh,
blonde.
you must
And
be so
it
cute.
I look at John
Mhm.
and with a
Oh.
bigger nose, that's what I look like.
I don't see your big nose though.
It's well,
I
this
like
is
a big
weird.
nose, but I'm not seeing a big nose.
Look at that. That thing is huge.
I don't know. But then I got a nose on me, so maybe
You
that's
do.
it.
You do.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe people are supposed to have smaller noses and I just don't notice. I don't notice.
John's nose is really teeny. I'm
Mm,
surprisingly small.
mm, mm.
It's Danny. It's
She
Danny's
has
white
no
jeans.
nose.
Danny's
Someone got her nose when she was little and never
Danny's
got
white
back.
jeans with their blue eyes. Well, John has like gray eyes, like gray blue.
That counts as blue.
Danny's are like pretty
Yeah.
blue.
Hmm. That's funny. Are we way off track here?
Oh, absolutely. There is some Jew going right now. Yeah, I see it.
I
I
see
see
it.
it. I
Sure.
see it. My Judar's going off there.
Your Judar. Do you have Judar? Hey, where do you do? You
I
really good?
do.
Yeah,
I'm very.
that's nice.
There was somebody on TV, and I don't remember what the context was, but me and Danny were talking. I was like, she's Jewish. And then like 5 minutes later, they say her last name. Say, I told you.
Ah.
Told you. That's
That's
funny.
that is. Oh man. All right.
All right. Well, it is time to wrap up.
I believe we've done a pretty good job here, although we did go off track, but that's okay. We're allowed
We did
to.
at the